I bought a suspiciously cheap Xbox Series X from eBay, and in this video, we're going to take an in-depth look at it and see what's up with it. So first I want to do the slide test here, and oof, yeah, clearly not much packaging in here, so let's go ahead and open it up and see what they sent us. Now this listing was very sketchy because it was only $250, it used a generic picture, and the description was nonsense, said nothing, but the condition was listed as for parts. So I have no idea what this console is going to be like. I don't know if it's broken or working. I don't know, but let's go ahead and see what's inside. All right, so open it up, and we have FedEx bubble mailer. No, there is no way, dude. You've got to be kidding me. Like, dude, like, what? This seller, I don't remember how big they were, but they had like tens of thousands of feedback on eBay, and this is how they're shipping stuff? What on earth? My goodness. Like, I guess they list it for parts and just assume they can get away with anything. All right, so here's the console, and as you can see from the front, it actually doesn't look too terrible. I mean, it's clearly got some scratches and scuffs and whatever. I wonder if the buttons press down. Yeah, they all press. The sync button looks pretty mutilated. And yeah, looking at the top, I do see a fan in there, which is good. My worry here is that they opened this up and like scavenged it for parts. Hopefully they did not, but we'll see. So taking a look at the back, it's pretty clear that somebody has been inside here before because this seal is gone. You got the screw exposed, and then this one right here, this sticker pulls up pretty easily, and then you can get to the screw there. So we'll take a look at that later. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other sides. Bottom looks pretty solid. Do still have the stand, which is good to see. And nothing much to write home about on this side or this side, you know, some scuffs, scratches, whatever. Now let's go ahead and plug this thing in and try to turn it on and see what happens. So I got the console plugged in. My first thought was that maybe the HDMI port was broken, and the cord plugged in fine, so we'll find out, of course, if it's broken in a second. Got my gold controller here as well, but I'm getting a little bit hungry now, so let me go get some food first and I'll be back. So I'm back with my food, and as I turn on this console and test it out, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor for today's video, which is Factor. Now, in case you haven't heard of Factor, they deliver fresh, never frozen meals straight to your doorstep, and the coolest part about them is that they're pre-prepped. All you have to do is put them in the microwave for 2 minutes, and they're ready to eat. I have a black pepper and sage pork chop right here, which I'm going to eat while I turn this console on. But let's go ahead and turn this console on and see what happens. 3, 2, 1. We do have life. Let me eat a little bit of this broccoli casserole thing here. Looks pretty good. So as I was eating my broccoli, this console decided to turn off on itself. Let me show you guys in the picture there. You'll see it turns on for a second, and then it turns off in about 3, 2, 1, and there it goes, off now. So even though this console doesn't stay on, at least I have a nice meal to enjoy here. And I was a bit skeptical at first. You know, it's a microwave meal. I thought it was just gonna be like any of those other, you know, junk microwave meals out there. But this thing, no, this is like a restaurant prepared meal that you stick in the microwave. It's ready to go. I ate chicken the other day, and that stuff was as tender as it is coming out of the pan. And it's kind of funny with this meal. Like, this thing is straight up cheaper than takeout. Like, if you guys tried to get delivery from a restaurant recently, there's like no way you're spending under 20 bucks. And it only takes 2 minutes to heat up, and it's kind of similar with grocery shopping. Like, if you go grocery shopping, to get a meal, you got to bring it home, prep it, cook it, clean it up, all that stuff. And this is going to taste as good, if not better. And, you know, it takes 2 minutes to heat up, and it's delicious. Now, for me, there are some times when I'd like to cook my own meal, and that's where HelloFresh has you covered. And HelloFresh actually owns Factor. So between HelloFresh and Factor, you got all your bases covered. So head to factor75.com or click the link down below and use the code JacobR50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Again, if you go to factor75.com and use the code JacobR50, you'll get 50% off your first Factor box. So something else weird I noticed with this Xbox is when you turn it on, the fan never even spins up. So I'm not sure what's going on. It also has a slightly weird smell, almost, I don't want to call it burning plastic, but like it's getting there. But we fortunately do have my handy dandy cardboard Xbox Series X that I can use for parts if I need to. But let's go ahead and open up the $250 Xbox Series X and see what's going on inside, because clearly somebody's opened up before, and hopefully they haven't made it worse. So flipping over to the back of the console here, again, there are 2 screws, one here and one here. Surprising, I'm still surprised that they actually peeled up this sticker instead of just poking a hole through it, because that's the lazy way to do it. Let's go ahead and take out this first screw here. Dude, I think whoever put this screw back used a drill because it was in there tight. And I didn't mention it earlier, but this console was manufactured in June 2021, so it's almost 2 years old now. I'm not sure if that'll be relevant to us or not, but just something to point out. So yeah, first glance, it looks pretty normal. We still have our fan screws there. We got our ribbon cable here. Got a couple ribbon cables. These don't even look like they've been taken out. Yeah, it has. That one looks loose, so that's probably been taken out before. But everything looks like it was put together or put back properly. Yeah, so nothing super obvious at first glance. Now, first thing we're gonna do is take this fan out. I want to take a closer look at it while I turn the console on, so I can just get a better view of what it's doing. Fan looks pretty clean. I don't see anything obvious obstructing it. So let's go ahead and plug it back in and then plug the console in, turn it on, and just see what the fan does. All right, console is plugged back in, turn it back on, we got the noise, and the fan tries to spin up. I didn't notice that earlier, but it does try to spin up, and then the console turns right back off. Let's turn it on one more time and see if the fan does that again. All right, so it's back on, and yeah, the fan, it's trying to do something, but it can't start up. So first thing I'm going to try is replacing the fan and see if that fixes anything. All right, so like I said, I have my cardboard Xbox Series X here. It's not even not even screwed down, so we can get this thing out pretty easily. My guess is the fan is not the issue. It's probably just my guess is the power supply is blown, but we're gonna try the fan first. And I think power supply being blown would make a lot of sense because I smell like I told you, the weird smell. I don't know if the power supply has like an odor of roasting, but I don't know if that makes sense. Let's go ahead and turn this back on though with the new fan. See what it does. New fan is even worse. So turn it on, fan does not even try to spin up, and the console seemed, at least the first time I turned it on, the console seemed to turn off even quicker than before. Take this fan off, and let's go ahead and tear this thing down a bit more. And again, taking a look at the bottom here, looks like all the screws are here, which is pretty surprising to me because usually when somebody opens a console, tries to repair it, and doesn't actually fix it, they usually break other stuff, leave screws out, and whatnot. So it's surprising to see this thing still intact. At the same time, that's also not a great sign because it means that a legit repair company might have opened it up before, and if they couldn't repair it, then good luck to me repairing it. All right, so let's go ahead and pull the entire chassis out here. Oop, and I hear something is loose inside. So I think I might know which piece is loose. It sounds like a plastic piece, but I think it's the piece that holds this side of this cable in place. So this cable plugs into the disk drive right here. As so, this side right here plugs into the motherboard. Hopefully my camera can focus. It plugs in like right there. When I took this piece off, the other side came out really easily, and I wasn't quite sure why. And I think I know why now because I think that clip is broken. You can see it in there. Well, you probably can't see, but ooh, those pins are bent and it's broken. Wow, that doesn't look great. Let me just tear this console down some more and we'll get to it. All right, so this little block right here is the power supply. Now taking a look at it, it doesn't look like anything crazy. I don't see like any burn marks. Sniff test. Okay, I do smell. I think that kind of odd smell is coming from the power supply because I do smell it. So I don't know if it's like a burning smell or what, but we're gonna go ahead and take this little block off and replace it with the one from my cardboard Xbox Series X and see what that does. And oof, yeah, you can see that plastic piece that was broken there. Let me zoom in there. All right, so you can see right here we have one cable to the disk drive, and this is cable number 2 to the disk drive. And you can see that plastic piece right here is like wiggling around. It's about to break off. I think there's another plastic piece on the other side that broke off, and that was what it was rattling around. All right, guys, so it's comparison time. Here on the right, I have the Xbox Series X from eBay. The left side, I have the cardboard Series X, and you can see that's the broken connector there. You can see this connector is intact, and the difference is we have a plastic piece right there that holds the SATA cable in place. This one does not have that, so the pins don't even rest up against the right spot in this cable. I'm not sure if we'll get to that in this video to replace that because this piece definitely needs to be replaced if you want to play with the disk drive. I think we can run the console without the disk drive, or maybe that's the issue. Maybe the console's not booting up because the disk drive is broken. Not sure, but I do have the power supplies out now. And at first, one thing I thought could be an issue is the fact that they are from different times. Mine is from, we'll see, manufactured in September 2020. This one is manufactured in June 2021. But I looked here, and you can see they both have model, 1920. So let's go ahead and do the swap right here and see if we can get this bad boy to work. All right, so I kind of have the bare minimum back together in terms of cables and screws and that sort of thing. But I got my HDMI power cable plugged in, fan plugged in. Let's go ahead and see if it turns on. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we got life, and the fan is still not pretty good. Oh man, that's awesome. It was not the power supply because it still got the same exact symptom. Where I try to turn it on, the fan tries to spin, then turns right back off. I wonder, do I have to have the disk drive plugged in to do anything? I don't know. So I spent like the last half hour doing minor little tests here and there. The first thing I wanted to try was booting up my working Xbox Series X, the cardboard Xbox Series X, without a disk drive to make sure it would still boot up without a disk drive plugged in. And sure enough, it does. So that's not the issue here. And yeah, so I don't know what the issue is right now. Basically, I saw the power supply still had the same exact issue. I tried resetting it with the if you hold down eject, sync, and press the power button, it's supposed to go to the recovery menu or whatever. That didn't work. But let's just keep going down and seeing if I can find any other issues here because yeah, nothing obvious yet. But oh, there is the rest of our SATA cable. Just fell out of the Xbox. All right, got the heat sink off. Let's take a look at this thermal paste here. I mean, there's clearly not a whole lot there, but it doesn't look awful by any means. And just looking around here, it doesn't appear that anybody has been this far into the console before. I just don't like see any, human wear or tear from opening this thing up. So unsurprisingly, what I just tried for the last half hour didn't work. What I was doing was swapping components from one Xbox to the other and vice versa, and just seeing if they would, if I could kind of narrow it down to basically which board doesn't work. Because if you look at the Xbox Series X, there are two boards here. You have this board right here, which has, I think this is the Wi-Fi antenna here. You've got some connections for your disk drive and just various other components. And then you have this one ribbon cable that attaches to this board and goes to your main motherboard, where you have your heat sink and your APU and all that good stuff, SSD and that kind of thing. So what I tried to do was swap these two boards on both Xboxes, but I did that, and then I tried out both Xboxes. Neither of them worked. They would basically, the light turned on, the console made the noise to power on, and then it faded away and did nothing. So unsurprisingly, it appears that these two boards are married to each other in some way. There's one other thing I want to try, and this is not going to fix our Xbox, but it's going to be interesting. We want to see if the original power supply on the bad Xbox is bad or not, because that was the original thought, is that it smelled, it didn't turn on. We thought that was a bad power supply. So I'm curious if that is still a bad power supply. So let's go ahead and try that out. And basically what I'm doing here to test this is I have the original cardboard Xbox Series X and all its components, and then all I did was swap out the power supply to the bad power supply, or supposedly bad power supply, and we're going to plug it in now and see if it works. All right, so there we go, guys. This power supply appears to have never been the issue, because now my cardboard Xbox Series X with the power supply from the bad Xbox is now working fine. The fan is on, the console is on. So it appears that maybe it's a power delivery issue, not a power supply issue. And by power delivery, I mean something on the board is shorted or messed up and not allowing the console to turn on fully. Again, I don't really have any experience with troubleshooting board level stuff on a console this complicated. So please let me know down below if you have any suggestions or tips, or if you've seen this before. All right, guys, so myself and my editor, Danny, have done a bunch of research and troubleshooting on this console in the last few days, and essentially we've come to the conclusion that this console is a doozy, and it's still having the same issue, still doesn't work. And let me just kind of show you what's going on now. So first of all, I have the console plugged in here with no SSD in it, and let me just show you what happens. So with no SSD in it, we turn it on, the power light stays on, the fan boots up, and it goes. Like, it doesn't stop like it did before. Oh, wait, that time it turned off. All right, anyways, so now it's even weirder, but essentially before this is the thing. It just like gets weirder and weirder every time. But basically what happened is I took the SSD out, turned the console on, and the fan spun up. The console stayed on like indefinitely, and which was weird because with the SSD in it, it would turn off after like 5 or 10 seconds. So we kind of came to the conclusion that it's most likely an SSD issue. So what we did was replacing the SSD is not super simple. So this is the original SSD. I had to buy one off of eBay. I actually bought two just to like try out a couple of them. I bought two more off of eBay for $140 each, and these are Xbox Series X drives. Now these are two slightly different drives, but I have seen people online use these, be able to clone one drive to another because they are both Xbox Series X specific drives. Now to do this, you have to clone a specific partition from the original drive to a new drive, because we're assuming that the original drive is bad here, but you can still get the keys off of it. They kind of lock it to the motherboard. So you copy the keys from the original drive to a new drive. You put this drive in here, and then it should work theoretically, but it doesn't for us. I've tried it like 20 times. I watched different videos. I watched different tutorials. They're all essentially the same, where you use this program called Macrium Reflect. You get the image from this partition here, and you clone it to these drives here, and it just didn't work for me. I also tried cloning the entire original drive with this little Sabrent cloning tool that I saw on Tronics Fix. I saw him use it once, and I tried that. Did not work. Still has the same issue when you put the new SSD in. It turns on for like 5 or 10 seconds and turns off. And yeah, I don't know what the issue is. And the listing, it just leads me back to the eBay listing. It's a bit sketchy that the seller had like 10 or 20 of these, and we're selling them for super cheap. So like, I don't know if they knew that these consoles all had like the same issue and they're like unfixable. I don't know. It's a little bit weird, but I'll let you decide what you think about that. And yeah, so I don't know what the issue is. Kind of sucks that I spent all this money on this cloning tool, these two hard drive or two SSDs here, and still not working. But let me know down below if you got any ideas or any fixes you think might work. We've tried a ton of stuff I didn't even show on camera, and just no dice. I swapped power supplies, swapped a bunch of other stuff, and just nothing's working. So yeah, let me know down below what you think. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.